Hello, I'm Ameya Kalgutka for the Habit Foundation podcast. Joined with Prafull Rai, sir. Hello, sir.
Hi.
So I would start, as always, with the career journey and personal advice. Sir, with 18 years of investing experience, how have you seen the investment landscape change over the years?
A lot of people have come in. Investing from being to start with, people used to call satta bazaar, कुछ नहीं होता है, random shit हो गया है. From there, people have started respecting investors. This is how typical evolution of a country happens, right? $600-700 पर कैपिटा में आप क्या इन्वेस्टमेंट करोगे? खाने पीने को ही नहीं है. तो as and when you keep growing in the size at the per capita level, investors start playing a bigger and bigger role. So that evolution is actually replicating what has happened everywhere. जहाँ everywhere in the world it happens the same way. It's happening here also. There is no difference. US saw the same thing, Europe saw the same thing, India is seeing the same thing. Actually, it's exactly, if you just put US and India together, you'll see the same pattern. We are just 20-30 years behind them. So that is people coming, participating from 1 or 2% to 8-9%. I think it'll go to 25-30% of Indians will be participating in some way or the other investing part.
In America, it's around 50%. So
direct is 50%. Actually, so it's 70-80%.
Okay.
Direct holding is 50%, which is what is important. Indirect तो 401k plan ये वो तो उसका कोई value नहीं है.
Direct is around 50%.
50% plus.
So I will also talk about career milestones. Like, what has been the defining moment in your career as an investor?
Defining moment is two parts. One, I made one of the biggest loss one day at an early stage. It taught a lot. So losing is important. And then learning from the best people in the industry. So I had a chance to work with Inam and Nimisha. Was very close to Rakesh Jinjona till he was alive. Very, very close. We used to have a neighboring office of 10 years almost. So we used to meet, talk every day. So you get to learn. It's like if you're lucky that you get to meet such people at any point in time in life, because you learn so much from these kind of people is not fun. It's not about giving ideas. It's about thinking about things, insights. Ideas तो कोई भी दे देगा, मतलब ये क्या करने का कोई. The way to think is what these people can teach. So I think the association of right people is more important than and losing money is teaches you most. Followed by that is the right set of people.
Also, sir, what would be that right way to think if you could summarize it a little bit?
First, learn to think. People don't think. People learn and they produce the same thing, and that's thinking for them. And people just don't think. So I think most of the people around I see they're just learning, they're not thinking. तो thinking वाला process तो use ही नहीं करते.
So lack of originality, you're saying?
Originality सबको नहीं होती है. तो 1-2% लोगों को ही होती है. तो not everybody will have originality. But thinking तो करना चाहिए.
Just to curiosity as why things happen, how things go. How
curiosity, just when you look at things, you should say, oh, क्यों हो रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है, what could be. So that I think people don't have that. They are not taught. कॉलेज में सिखाया नहीं जाता सोचना चाहिए. सिखाया जाता है कि पढ़ो और रिप्रोड्यूस करो. That is not thinking.
Not thinking. Sir, I would also like to talk about your investment strategy and your approach to the economic markets. As to how does your market research look like, and what is your core economic philosophy? If you could summarize it, like
I don't look at economic philosophy. I look at bottoms. I'm a bottoms-up investor. I look at companies and businesses. So for me, economic models are academic. I enjoy reading that, but it has no bearing on my investing decisions. Bottoms-up investing, identify good companies, good promoter, large addressable opportunity, good growth, hopefully at right valuation. That's what I keep thinking about all the time. I don't think about economic aspects of a lot of these things. Somehow I feel that's more for marketing, not for actual investing.
Okay. Sir, so talking about this economic trends that are happening, what would you say about the Federal Reserve's interest rate cuts that have?
करना ही पड़ेगा. Inflation तो क्या अभी कहाँ मतलब for them to do. I think.
But they cut the interest rates very sharply.
They will have to cut it far more. See, oil is one of the key factors for inflation globally, and food. Leave aside India and some part of Southeast Asia where population is everywhere going down. So food inflation is taken care of by aging population by itself. So you have increasing productivity and lowering population and reducing food intake as well. The food inflation is tough to get now. Second is oil. Middle East is burning, and oil is not moving up.
Even Russia.
Oil, Middle East is burning. Russia का oil तो वैसा का वैसा ही, but Middle East, which is 30% of oil supply, is affected. But there is no impact on the oil. Actually, on the contrary, oil has gone down to 70. So I'm just saying that inflation is thing of the past. We'll have to work towards creating inflation. I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years, same central bank will say how to create and build some inflation.
So what would happen to the interest rates then?
Will go down. Not in every part of the world, but see, they are not that simple a math. Inflation कम होगा तो interest rate कम होगी. It's not given because you and me get affected doesn't by the Fed का interest rate. We get affected by the Treasury bill का cost. T-bill का rate कम होने का कारण नहीं है because US में monetary policy ease कर दोगे. Fiscal का क्या करोगे? Fiscal तो फट गया उनका. Since you're talking of US, right?
Yeah. Although sir, there has been a trend
printed $1 trillion this year.
And the deficit of every state across all Western nations have increased, even India.
So how will interest rate go down? You have inflation going down, but interest rate may not go down.
So there's like
a very stupid scenario which is going to play in front of us. I think it's a matter of 3-4 years it will happen. It's not given interest rate will go down. That's why I was telling कि startup का बात कर रहे हो, build a scenario where cost of capital is 5% and then you fund for a technology company. It's tough.
Okay. Sir, I would also like to talk about the key indicators of a turning point in the market cycle. Is this year a turning point in the market cycle?
Turning point means what?
The turning point as to a shift in where the money flows from. So there has been a shift of money from manufacturing jobs to then software jobs or tech jobs. Is there a new race that is happening that you investors would look towards? Like AI could be a potential market turning point.
But AI में कैसे invest करोगे?
So in companies that make AI products.
Which company will not have? Every company will have AI in some way or the other. So how will you differentiate? AI actually will be everywhere. Every company I speak to, they are doing something or the other. So how will you differentiate? To improve efficiency, AI will be a tool.
So it will become the bottom line.
It will be part of the business. But you can't say कि AI company invest करने जा रहा है. वो तो है ही नहीं अपने पे, available ही नहीं है.
Sir, but there is a difference between a good company that is incorporating proper AI and one that is probably not.
If companies need it, they'll do it.
Okay.
The faster one will do it upfront. The later ones will do it later. But everybody will have to do it.
Also, I would like to talk about your key learnings as to what critical lessons have you learned during some challenging market phases as you talked about.
Sit back and think what's happening and how will it play out. You have to put yourself 2 years from a challenging point, how things will be. And then you have to sometimes visualize and imagine also. Actually thinking, it's all game of thinking. The COVID time is a very interesting case where there's a fund called Ruan Kanif Gold Farm. They had printed an article, they have given a history of 5 such catastrophic events and the behavior of the world in each of the 5 such catastrophic events. And they said this time again it's going to happen the same. This was on March 27, 2020 when thick of COVID was happening. He's going through it and Ruan Kanif is parent of Sequoia. India may be called that Sequoia capital. Sequoia ka parent company is Ruan Kanif. When you read that, you realized that you went to the history, you saw that behavior to same ही था. And the moment the COVID was at the peak, all the central banks of the world started talking print more money. So it was a classic case कि market घूम गया because पैसा छपा. So it played in 1950, it played in 1920. It just keeps happening. हमको लगता है इस बार अलग है ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. Same damn shit keeps happening. The format and size keeps changing. So
Okay.
Learn history.
Surely. So a lot of investing has always been a history of economic patterns.
Human behavior more than economic patterns.
Human behavior, surely.
I don't think economics plays such a big role.
Also, I would like to talk about the people that you talked about, the legendary investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Like, what were the key mentorship?
Actually, India's biggest legend is Nimisha, not Rakesh. I'm not saying not. He's taught a lot.
But still, he was one of the biggest.
He's not the biggest for sure. See, what is shown to you may not be the right thing. Rakesh ji ka contribution in my view was he taught a lot of people investing. He actually used to speak out in public. बहुत सारे लोग बहुत अच्छे भी हैं बट बात नहीं करते. So I think his biggest contribution was that he taught a lot of people investing how to think. If you read his interview, it has a lot of interesting
Millions of views on YouTube.
Lot of, if you sit back 5 बार सुनो, he has taught a lot in those interviews, more than most of the teachers can teach you, because he was a practitioner. So practitioner teaching is a different game, or teacher teaching is academic. Rakesh ji ke interviews is worth listening for
Every investor.
for anybody who wants to be participating in market in some way or the other.
Also, I wanted to talk about your firm. So, RF Partners.
Arjav.
Arjav Partners. What would you suggest as to how that happened and how everything is?
See, just 2-3 of us wanted to create a formal platform for ourselves. We just got together. So I was there. There was a guy called Sandeep Dixit. He's my partner. Sandeep was with Lehman Brothers. He was Asia head for finance. Then he became country head for equities in Deutsche Bank. And I don't know if you know that there's a fund called Alliance Bernstein. So he was Asia head for Alliance.
Alliance Bernstein. It's a $300 million.
No, to be bigger. Asia. Samir Arora was there, so it was bigger. Then now it must have gone down. So Sandeep replaced in 2014. He was also fed up of all these corporate jobs and a lot of traveling. He said, "Can I come and join you?" So I said, that is how it happened. So we created a platform where 2-3 can sit together, discuss, debate, and ideate. So that was the idea for Arjav. So Arjav ka meaning है complete coherence in your thought, actions, and what you speak. There's an interesting Sanskrit. This is what we all stand for. That what you think is what you speak is what you mean. So
that's a very thoughtful name.
So that was the idea, and that continues.
Also, if you could give your 20-year or 25-year-old self, because a lot of audience that is watching is going to be a young audience, what would you say to them?
25 years old?
If you could talk to your own 20 or 25-year-old self, what would you say to him? This could be as a guiding light
Keep in the company of right people. That's the only thing. जो बोला था ना, that one of the panelists was saying, they keep connecting to people, but more important, if you're in the circle of right people, you're sorted. Your circle lifts you up. You can't go alone. See, Rakesh ji का बात आप कर रहे हो ना, तो there were 3 people who always sat, discussed, ideated together. In Namme, there are 2-3 of them, they sit together and discuss. So it's never individual which succeeds. Actually, the teams have succeeded. We don't see the team because the person becomes a face. But others are also done equally well. That you don't get to see because so there were 3 equals who sat on the table like this. They discuss every day, every few days, who's doing what, how, when, where, and that's how the circle keeps going. So I would suggest only one thing: create good set of people around you.
Sir, I'm very curious as to how that conversation must flow. Like, for if you talk amongst your peers,
Means,
like for example, if this debate or this discussion is happening, how does one conduct this discussion, and how does
अपने आप होगा, तुमको दिखेगा दोनों के इंटरेस्ट एक जैसे हैं.
It's very spontaneous.
You will get to know, but you have to be aware, open in a way thinking to get to know. See, it's about 2 people are thinking about investing. In a way, they'll get to know and they'll cross each other. We have the same interest. But you have to be open-minded to listen, and you have to be listening. Not if you're listening, you'll get to know. I don't think it's a skyrocket. You'll figure out amongst your 50-100 peers that I will go well with that guy because you have common interests.
Okay, sir. I also want to talk about the transition between your corporate thing and as to how then your new investment firm is. What's the difference in the transition been between those things?
Transition was easy, but running by yourself is not easy. Transition was easy, just you're out.
But what is the aftermath of that transition?
You do a lot of mistakes for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because in corporation you are taught to, if you are very good, if you are paid well, you are well in the corporate hierarchy. You are I would say right at the top. So then you have a great thinking about yourself. But when you are alone, you realize, oh shit, this is not. That was the place which offered me all those things. एक learning आता है, 2-4 साल का learning आता है. You have to go through it. जो outlier, one of the panelists again talked about a book called Outlier. It's a 3-year game to learn a new thing. You do a lot of mistakes, you do a lot of stupidity for 3 years before you start reducing the stupidity and doing more right things. But transition is easy. Leaving a corporate is the easiest thing to do. But sustaining for 3-4 years after that is not easy.
Okay, sir. So, what someone who is into finance and into investing, what's something that one must do to get into this domain?
Finance and investing are different things. Investor can be a non-finance person. Some of the best investors I know have not learned finance. So don't confuse these two things. And if you have to get into this domain as an employee, is a different game. As an investor, is a different game. So investing, you get what you want. You want to become an employee, become an employee. You want to become a third-party manager, become a third-party manager. You want to be a glorified academician, you get what you want, but you have to ask for what you want. So finance can get you a good job, if not fat eventually. But will it make you a good investor? No. Actually, it is detrimental. Financial acumen is more important than finance. तो वो आपको बिल्ड करना पड़ेगा, वो तो आपको कोई सिखाएगा नहीं, वो खुद से ही करना पड़ेगा.
Sure. Okay, sir. Thank you so much for the
Awesome.
interview.